Hello, beloved. Welcome. It is no accident that you found this video today. I want to begin by asking you to do something very simple, but very powerful. Just type in the comments, "I receive," because today, this message is not for everyone. It is for the one who is ready to believe again. For the one who has been waiting, battling, aching, and quietly asking God, "Will I ever be whole again?" This message is for you, and I'm going to ask for only 40 seconds of your time. Just 40 seconds. That's all God needs. He's not asking for your perfection. He's not waiting for you to figure it all out. He's not demanding that you clean everything up before you approach him. All he's asking for is a moment of belief, a moment of surrender, a moment when your heart says, "God, I can't do this without you." So pause whatever else is going on in your world right now. Lay down the weight you've been carrying. This is your moment. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel more qualified. Now, because God says, "If you give me 40 seconds, I'll begin to cure what no medicine could touch. I'll begin to heal the places in your life where no therapist could reach. I'll begin to speak peace to the storms that no one else even knew you were facing." That's the power of my Spirit. That's the tenderness of my love. And when I say cure, I'm not only speaking about your body. Though yes, I can heal the pain in your back, the disease in your blood, the tightness in your chest. But I am also the God who cures broken hearts, who lifts emotional heaviness, who calms anxious thoughts, who restores minds and renews joy. I cure the soul. I cure the trauma. I cure the scars you stopped talking about. In Jeremiah 30:17. I declared this promise, "But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds," declares the Lord. That word wasn't just for a distant people, in a distant time. That word is for you, today, right now. There are places in your heart that have been crying silently for healing. Silent wounds, silent battles, silent suffering. And while others may have seen your smile, they didn't know you were surviving a storm. But I saw. I've been there. I've caught every tear. And I'm not just aware I'm moving. You've spent nights asking, "Lord, do you hear me? Can you feel this?" And this is my answer. Yes, I hear. Yes, I feel. And yes, I heal. Your healing begins with a breath of surrender, a whisper of faith, 40 seconds of stillness where you let me in. I'm not waiting for the perfect words. I'm waiting for your yes to believe again, your yes to trust me with the places that feel too broken, your yes to stop trying to do this in your own strength. In Psalm 147:3, I said, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." Do you hear that? That's you. That verse has your name in it. You're not disqualified because of how long you've struggled. You're not behind because of how much time has passed. Healing doesn't operate on a calendar. It responds to faith. You might be thinking, "But I've prayed before. I've asked before. Nothing happened." And I understand that pain. But I want to invite you into something deeper. This moment is not about formulas or outcomes. It's about alignment. It's about choosing to open the door again and say, "Lord, come in. Even if I'm scared, even if I've doubted, even if I'm tired, come in." God says, "I never left. I've been standing at the door of your heart, knocking softly, not forcefully, not loudly, gently, patiently, waiting for you to invite me back in. I don't need all your strength. I just need your willingness." And as you open your heart right now, something is already shifting in the atmosphere. The weight is lifting. The confusion is clearing. The shame is breaking. Because the presence of God is not just information, it's transformation. Isaiah 53:5 reminds us, "By his wounds we are healed." That means your healing has already been paid for. It's not something you have to earn. It's a gift. And gifts aren't earned, they're received. So, let me ask you again, precious one. Will you give God just 40 seconds? Will you give Him your fear, your doubt, your pride, your resistance? Will you lay it all down just for a moment and say, God, I'm tired of trying to carry this alone. I give it to you? That's where healing starts. Not in the loud places, not in the perfect places, but in the surrendered places. God says, I will heal you of the fatigue you've been hiding. I will heal you of the ache that never fully goes away. I will heal you of the cycle that keeps pulling you backward every time you try to move forward. I will do it, not by your might, not by your willpower, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4-6 reminds us, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord Almighty. You don't need to push your way into wholeness. You need to surrender your way into it. Can you feel that? That's not just words, that's presence. That's the weight of glory pressing against your weariness. That's the gentle hand of the Father reaching into the deepest places of your pain. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are not beyond healing. Even right now, your body may be tingling. Your heart might feel lighter. Your tears may be falling. Don't ignore it. That's heaven touching earth. That's the eternal meeting your temporary. That's love covering what the world has uncovered. Let it happen. God says the chains are breaking. The bitterness is lifting. The anger is melting. The unforgiveness is loosening its grip. Let me finish what I started. He's not only healing your body, He's healing your memories, your trust, your joy, your laughter. He's reviving the dreams you buried, the parts of you you gave up on. He's healing the younger version of you who felt overlooked, the teenage version of you who carried too much, the adult version of you who has learned how to function while fractured. No more. 2 Corinthians 12-9 says, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. This is your permission to be weak. This is your permission to stop pretending. You don't have to be strong for everyone else. You just have to be surrendered for you. This healing is not just for today, it's for every tomorrow. It's not a temporary fix, it's a permanent shift. Something in you is coming back to life, not because of this video, not because of these words, but because your heart just opened long enough for God to touch it. And that 40 seconds you gave, that was enough. Heaven doesn't need an hour. It just needs a moment. And now that you've said yes, God is not finished. He's only getting started. The words ahead are filled with the reassurance and spiritual truth your heart may have been craving. This next part of God's message is here to continue ministering to your soul, to lift your head, and to remind you again that you are remembered deeply, personally, eternally by the God who never forgets. When God says, I have not forgotten you, it is not a statement made to comfort your feelings. It's a promise rooted in eternal truth. He cannot forget what He created. You were made in His image, formed with care, crafted with intention, breathed into existence with purpose. Even before your birth, He knew every day you would live. Not one of those days escapes His attention. Psalm 139-16 says, Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. There is nothing random about your life. There is nothing overlooked. Even your delays are part of a bigger unfolding. Even the unanswered prayers are holding space. For greater glory, the Lord does not dismiss your desires. He stores them. He keeps your tears in a bottle, not as a record of sorrow, but as a testimony of faith. Psalm 56-8 says, You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Every tear you've cried in the dark was noticed by heaven. Every sigh, every silent ache, every quiet surrender, they've been seen. And they haven't just been observed. They've been responded to. Not always with immediate change, but always with divine presence. And often, it's God's presence that becomes our miracle long before the circumstances shift. There are moments in life when God is quiet, but that doesn't mean he's absent. His silence is not rejection. Sometimes it's strategy. Sometimes it's the calm before the shift. And many times, he's simply drawing your roots deeper, creating space for the blessing to arrive without cracking your foundation. It's hard to wait, especially when your heart is ready, especially when you've been faithful, especially when it feels like others are being seen, chosen, elevated, and you're still waiting. But God doesn't compare timelines. He authors individual stories. You are not behind. You are not late. You are in a divine process that is preparing you, not punishing you. Isaiah 60:22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." That's not just a verse. That's a spiritual guarantee. It means there's a timing to your breakthrough that is not determined by your effort, your status, your visibility, or even your past. It's determined by God's perfect knowledge of what you need and when you're ready to receive it fully. When God says, "I have not forgotten you," he's also saying, "I am working in ways you can't see." Think of all the prayers you've prayed, some desperate, some quiet, some so weary you didn't even know what words to use. None of them fell to the ground. Every single one was planted like a seed. And what do seeds do? They grow in darkness. They develop beneath the surface. Before you ever see the sprout, there's movement underground. That's what your life has been lately. Movement in the hidden place, shaping in the soil. And just because it doesn't feel visible doesn't mean it's not valuable. The enemy loves to convince you that nothing's happening, that you've been overlooked, that maybe you missed it. But listen closely, he is lying. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. You're being buried in order to bloom. ECCLESTIES 3-1 reminds us there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Your season is coming. The doors will open. The connections will align. The healing will manifest. The purpose will become clear. The prayers will be answered. But until then, don't stop trusting. Don't stop believing. Don't stop praying. Don't stop showing up with a willing heart. Because the truth is, God is already moving. While you wait, he's working. While you wonder, he's weaving. And when the moment is right, everything will fall into place, and you'll know it was him all along. Some of the greatest moments in Scripture were preceded by what looked like divine silence. Before the Red Sea parted, the Israelites thought they were trapped. Before Goliath fell, David was a forgotten shepherd boy. Before the walls of Jericho crumbled, the people marched in circles, unsure of what would happen. Before Lazarus walked out of the tomb, Jesus waited 2 more days even. After hearing the news. To us, it may look like delay. But to God, it's a divine setup for something greater than we imagined. He's not trying to harm you. He's not holding back because he's angry. He's waiting for the moment when your faith aligns with his perfect plan, and when that moment comes, not even the gates of hell can stop what he's about to release in your life. So what do you do while you wait? You rest in his presence. You speak his promises out loud. You worship even when your heart feels heavy. You declare his faithfulness even when you can't trace his hand. You remain rooted like a tree planted by living waters. Jeremiah 17:7-8 says, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream." You are that tree. You are not dried out. You are being nourished, even in unseen ways. You are not failing. You are being formed. And the roots you are growing now will carry you through seasons you haven't yet stepped into. You are not forgotten. You are being remembered in heaven, even as you listen right now. Angels are being dispatched. Chains are breaking behind the scenes. Favor is gathering itself to meet you. God is moving mountains you don't even know are in your way yet. And through all of it, He's whispering your name. You are not a face in the crowd to God. You are His beloved child. You are the one He died for, rose for, lives for. He knows your thoughts, your fears, your history, your hopes. He sees the gap between your reality and your dreams, and He's building the bridge. So don't lose heart. You're closer than you think. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." He's not watching from afar. He's walking you through. And even though it's been long, even though it's been hard, even though you're tired, you're still here. You're still standing. You're still hoping. And that means the enemy is not won. Your faith is still alive, even if it's faint. Your prayers are still powerful, even if they're whispered. Your destiny is still intact, even if you've wandered. Because God is faithful, and He will complete what He began in you. So let your heart breathe again. Let the weight lift. Let the lies fall away. Let the truth cover you like a warm blanket in winter. You are remembered. You are significant. You are still chosen. There's a fresh wind of grace coming to your life. And when it comes, it will carry everything you've waited for. Healing, peace, restoration, divine connections, purpose, joy. You'll look back on this season, not with regret, but with deep understanding. You'll say, "Now I see. Now I understand why it took time. Now I see what God was protecting me from, what He was preparing me for." And you'll thank Him for not forgetting you. You'll praise Him for being silent when you needed stillness. You'll worship Him for taking His time when you were in a rush. Because His timing is always better than our planning. His process is always deeper than our understanding. And His love is always more complete than we know. Take this word into your soul today. You are not forgotten. God is coming through for you, not late, right on time. And when He does, you'll know it was worth every tear, every delay, every closed door. Let your heart rest now. Let your spirit rise, because the promise still stands. And the one who made it never forgets. There are places in your life that may feel like deserts, dry, barren, lifeless. You've waited for rain. You've prayed for newness. And yet, some areas still feel like wastelands. But listen now. This is the word from the Lord for those very places of your heart. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Isaiah 43:19. You may not perceive it with your natural eyes yet, but something is springing up, quietly, gently, beneath the surface of your situation. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's real. God is moving. And what looks like a dry season is about to turn into a blooming one. Sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs begin as a whisper. Sometimes healing starts with the tiniest flicker of hope. Sometimes restoration begins with a choice, the decision to believe again, even when it hurts. This is your moment, right now. You are standing at the edge of a shift, and all heaven is leaning in to remind you, God is not finished with you yet. You may have made mistakes. You may have taken wrong turns. You may have lost time. But you have not lost your place in God's heart. His plans for you are still intact, still living, still unfolding. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope." Not just a future, but a hopeful one. Not just survival, but joy. Not just scraping by, but walking in purpose. God has not forgotten what He spoke over your life. He has not gone back on His word. He is not second-guessing His decision to choose you. He is still writing your story with beauty and precision. Even the chapters you thought were over, He is revisiting them with redemptive power. There are things you thought were dead dreams, callings, relationships, pieces of your identity. But God is the resurrection and the life. He brings back what the world declares finished. He breathes on dry bones, and they come alive again. Ezekiel 37 tells the story of a valley full of bones, dry, lifeless, scattered. And God asked, "Can these bones live?" From a human perspective, the answer was clearly no. But when the Spirit of God moved, when the breath of heaven came, those bones stood up fully restored, fully alive, formed into a great army. That's what God can do with your dry places. That's what He can do with what you thought was lost. That's what He's preparing to do right now. But before He moves around you, He wants to move in you. He wants your trust. He wants your surrender. He wants your heart to come back, not just the version of you that performs for others, but the version that's been hiding, doubting, retreating. He is saying, "Let me in again. Let me speak to the parts of you that haven't heard hope in a long time." You may be waiting for God to change your situation, but He's waiting for you to let Him transform your belief, to let Him strengthen your spirit, to let Him remind you who you are and whose you are. You are not forgotten. You are engraved on the palms of His hands. Isaiah 49:16 says, "See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me." That means your life is not slipping from His view. Your needs are not lost in a crowd of requests. Your tears are not overlooked by an overwhelmed God. He is deeply aware of every detail, and He's not disappointed in you. Let that sink in. He's not impatient with your struggle. He's not tired of your cries. He's not regretting the plans He made for you. Instead, He's waiting with love. He's waiting with grace. He's waiting with a power that never runs dry. So, if you're tired, rest. If you're weary, lean in. If you're doubting, ask Him to speak again. He's not offended by your questions. He welcomes them. He's not put off by your fear. He comes closer. He's not ashamed of your past. He's ready to rewrite it with mercy. You are still His. You are still in His hands. You are still covered by His promises. Proverbs 18:10 says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe." You can run to Him now, right where you are. In your room, in your thoughts. In your heart, you don't need fancy words. You don't need to explain everything. You just need to come. Whisper, "God, I still believe, even if I'm tired, even if I don't see a way. I still believe you're with me." That small act of faith unlocks heaven, because God never asks for perfection. He asks for your heart. And when He has your heart, He can begin to heal, guide, restore, and rebuild. He knows how to bring beauty from ashes. He knows how to lift your spirit. He knows how to bring you out of the shadows and into the light again. Isaiah 61:3 speaks of what He gives in exchange for pain, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. That is the exchange He's offering you now. Beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for despair. But you must bring Him the ashes. You must bring Him the mourning. You must bring Him the despair. Don't carry it alone. Don't pretend it doesn't hurt. Don't let shame silence you. Bring it to God. Every fear, every broken expectation, every unanswered prayer. Lay it down and let him do what only he can. He has not forgotten you. He is closer than ever, and his love for you is unshakable. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to fight for his attention. You already have it. You already have his heart. Zephaniah 3:17 says, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Can you picture that? The God of heaven singing over you, not condemning you, not punishing you, but rejoicing in you, because to him, you're not a problem to fix. You're a child to love. You're a heart worth pursuing. You're a soul worth saving. And no matter how far you feel, no matter how long it's been, no matter what others have said, you are not forgotten. He has remembered you. He is speaking to you, and soon. He will act on your behalf, in ways you cannot imagine, in timing you'll look back on and understand, in strength you didn't know you had. This is not the end, This is the in dash between and soon. The clouds will part. The light will return. The answers will come. But until then, hold on to this truth like a lifeline. God has not forgotten you. There are times when waiting feels like the hardest thing God could ever ask of us. Because in the waiting, we are asked to trust without knowing, to believe without seeing, to walk without the full map in our hands. And that is where faith becomes more than a word. It becomes a lifeline. But in that waiting, in that wondering, God leans in with a tender whisper, "I have not forgotten you." That whisper is more than comfort. It's truth. A truth that carries you through silent seasons, unanswered prayers, and deep valleys. A truth that reminds you that even when it seems like everything is standing still, heaven is still moving. There's a kind of trust God is building in you during this season. A trust that doesn't rely on signs and confirmations. A trust that lives even when the sky is cloudy. A trust that believes when there's no miracle in sight. This is the trust that pleases God. The trust that grows when everything else is silent. Hebrews 11:6 says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." You are still seeking him. That matters. Even now, even with your questions, even with your tired soul. The fact that you are listening to these words is proof that your heart hasn't given up. And if you haven't given up, God surely hasn't either. In fact, he's drawing nearer. There are places in your life that may feel like unanswered pages in a story. Pages you've tried to turn on your own. Chapters you've cried over. But God is the author, and the story isn't finished. What may feel like a blank space to you is actually a pause while God dips his pen in fresh ink. He's not done writing. Philippians 1-6 says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." That means if he started something in your life, if he placed a dream, a calling, a vision in your heart, he will finish it. No delay is strong enough to cancel the work of his hand. No detour can erase his intention. What he begins, he completes. There's something sacred about this space you're in right now. Yes, even with the waiting, even with the confusion, even with the tears. Because this is where God is building a depth in you that success can't create. He's strengthening your soul, shaping your character, stretching your faith. And that kind of growth doesn't happen on mountaintops. It happens in valleys, in stillness, in places where only he can speak and only you can hear. Sometimes the delay isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. God is preparing you for what you prayed for. He's shaping the capacity of your heart to carry the blessing when it arrives. Because he's not just interested in giving you something good. He wants that good thing to last, to bear fruit, to glorify him. And sometimes that means waiting. A little longer than you thought. But in the waiting, you're not alone. He's walking with you through every moment. Whispering strength when you have none. Breathing peace over your anxious thoughts. Lifting your head when it sinks from discouragement. And whispering, again and again, I have not forgotten you. That's the voice of a father who remembers every detail, who holds your story close, who knows the desires you've never even spoken out loud, who saw the moment you almost quit and still gave you the strength to take another step. Friend, that wasn't just a random spark of hope. That was him. That was grace. God is not distant. He's close, closer than your own breath. Psalm Pei says, the Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. So keep calling, keep praying, keep worshiping in your quiet place, because in those moments when no one else sees, when no one else hears, God is near. He's not just near, he's moving. And every time you lift your heart toward him, you are creating space for heaven to touch earth. Your prayers are building something, layer upon layer, brick upon brick, faith upon faith. They may not be answered yet, but they are working. They are shifting things in the spiritual realm. They are calling forth promises that have been waiting for the right moment to be released. Do not underestimate the power of a faithful heart in a quiet season. God sees you. He honors you, and there is a reward for your consistency. Hebrews 10:35-36 reminds us, so do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and the promise is time, not because God is slow, but because he is perfect. Perfect in his plans, God perfect in his wisdom, God perfect in his timing. You may not feel ready now, but God knows the exact moment. You will be. And when that moment comes, it will happen quickly. Things will shift suddenly. Doors will open without effort. People will appear in your life that you didn't even know you needed. And you'll look back and say, that's why. It took so long. That's why it had to happen this way. Because every detail will make sense. Every tear will have purpose. Every wait will have value. That's the kind of God we serve. He wastes nothing. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Yes, all things, even the waiting, even the disappointment, even the seasons where you felt forgotten. God is weaving those moments into your future testimony. He's taking the threads of pain and shaping them into beauty. He's turning the places you bled into places you'll bless others from. He's giving your waiting a voice, and one day, that voice will comfort others who are walking through what you survived. This is not wasted time. This is divine training. So keep showing up, not just for the promise, but for the process, because the process is holy too. And sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs don't come to you, they come through you. God is using this time to form the version of you who can carry what's coming. You are growing even when you feel stuck. You are maturing even when you feel weak. You are preparing for something you can't see yet, but heaven can. Don't give up now. You're too close. You've come too far. You've sown too many prayers into this soil. Harvest is coming. Healing is coming. Honor is coming. Not because you've been perfect, but because God is. You are still his. You are still worthy of the promises he made. You are still called, still chosen, still deeply loved. So if you've been feeling forgotten, this is your moment of truth. God sees you. He remembers you. He has not skipped over you. He has not changed. His mind about you. He is still the same faithful Father he was when he first called your name. He still has the same plans, the same intention. The same favor waiting to be poured out. Your name is still on his lips. Your destiny is still alive. Your future is still holy. So lift your eyes, lift your heart, and believe again. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. You are standing in the middle of God's grace, and it's carrying you towards something beautiful. Don't forget to speak that truth aloud. Speak it into your own soul. Speak it until the atmosphere around you shifts. God has not forgotten. Let that be your anthem today. Let it echo louder than fear. Let it rise higher than doubt. Let it silence every lie of the enemy, because heaven knows your name and your time is coming. Sometimes God slows things down, not because he's punishing you, but because he's protecting something sacred. He sees what you cannot see. He knows the weight of what you've asked for. He knows the timing needed for it to truly bless and not break you. You may feel like you're falling behind, but God sees you right on schedule. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not out of place. You are exactly where he can still reach you, still guide you, still breathe into your weary spirit. Are moments when the weight of waiting feels unbearable, but let this truth settle in your heart. Waiting is not wasted. It is working. It is stretching your spirit and teaching your heart to lean on God in a way that nothing else ever could. You are being molded. Your character is being refined. Your endurance is being strengthened. And your heart is being prepared for the blessings you once only dared to imagine. Isaiah 40:31 reminds us, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." You may feel tired. You may feel like giving up. But don't. Your hope in God is not just helping you survive. It's preparing you to soar. There is a lifting coming. There is strength being restored even now as you listen. There is power being poured into your spirit that is not your own. That's the promise of God. Think about this. What if the delay is actually the mercy of God? What if his not yet is his protection? What if the closed door is his divine redirection? You see, we often pray for the outcome, but God is focused on the process, because it's the process that prepares us for the outcome. You don't want something that will draw you away from him. You don't want something that looks good but costs you your peace. You don't want a blessing that feels like a burden because you weren't ready. God is working in the delay. And while you're waiting, he's watching how you wait. Are you waiting with bitterness? Or are you waiting with belief? Are you waiting with anxiety? Or are you learning to wait with assurance? Because when your faith matures, you start to realize that even silence can be sacred. Even the nothing seasons are full of God's movement behind the scenes. You're not forgotten. Deuteronomy 31:8 gives us this beautiful promise. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The Lord himself goes before you. That means he's not just aware of what's coming. He's already there, preparing the path, softening hearts, opening doors, and placing favor where it needs to be. The places you're headed into are already marked by his hand. That job, interview you've been waiting for, that relationship you've been praying over, that financial breakthrough you've hoped for, God has already walked ahead. You're not walking into the unknown. You're walking into a prepared place. And here's the truth. What God prepares, no man can stop. What God opens, no enemy can shut. What God ordains, he also sustains. That's why your waiting is not a curse. It's a setup for something bigger than you imagined. But here's something else to consider. In the waiting, God is also revealing. What's in your heart? Not to shame you, but to help you heal. Waiting as a way of exposing the hidden places, the fears we didn't know we had, the doubts we thought we buried, the lies we believed quietly. But in that exposure, there's an invitation to bring those things to God, to let Him heal what's broken, to let Him correct what's been confused, to let Him speak truth over every lie the enemy has whispered. And He will. Because He's a gentle healer. Psalm 147:3 tells us, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. That verse isn't just poetic. It's personal. It's for you, right now. For the pieces of your heart that feel cracked from waiting, weary from holding on, or confused by how long the journey has taken, you're not the only one who has felt forgotten. Even the greatest heroes of faith wrestled with these same feelings. David cried out in Psalm 13:1, How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Elijah, after witnessing miracles, still fled to the wilderness and begged God to take his life. Even Jesus, hanging on the cross, cried, My God, why have you forsaken me? These cries were real, they were raw, and they were heard. So, if you've been crying out, know this. Your voice matters to God. Your pain matters. Your confusion doesn't disqualify you from His love. Your questions don't make you weak. They make you human. And God is not intimidated by your humanity. He welcomes it. He draws near to it. He meets you right in the middle of it. Psalm 34:18 says, The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That closeness is not just a concept. It's an experience. Right now, in this moment, as your heart aches, as your mind wanders, as your soul thirsts, He is close. Feel that. Let it comfort you. Let it be the reminder that you are not forgotten. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are not invisible to the one who formed you. You were formed with intention, loved without, conditioned, chosen with purpose, and held every single day, even the silent ones. You see, God isn't just waiting to show up at the end of your story with a big answer. He's walking with you in the middle of it. He's speaking in the quiet. He's surrounding you with peace that makes no sense. He's leading you with whispers, not shouts. And sometimes those whispers say, just trust me. Just wait a little longer. What's coming is worth it. And it is, it's worth every tear, every prayer, every long night, every step of obedience that felt unnoticed, every time you chose faith over fear, it's all being counted, all being recorded, all being remembered. Hebrews 6:10 tells us, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you have helped His people and continue to help them. That verse isn't just about ministry. It's about your life. God will not forget the times you stayed kind when it would have been easier to lash out. He sees how you keep showing up, even when you're tired. He sees how you're still trying, still praying, still believing even on the hard days. He's seen every time you chose grace instead of anger. Every time you gave when you merely had enough. Every time you forgave, even when you didn't feel like it. Every single one of those moments is a seed planted in faith, and God is faithful to water what you plant. The harvest may not be visible yet, but it's growing in silence, in hiddenness, in God's perfect, powerful timing. And when it comes, it will come in a way that makes the waiting worth it. Suddenly, the right doors will open. Suddenly, the right people will appear. Suddenly, the answers will come, and you will look back and say, if I had received it sooner, I wouldn't have appreciated it like I do now. You'll realize that God didn't forget you. He was just preparing you, protecting you, deepening you, strengthening you for the very thing you prayed for. So today, Don't let the enemy convince you that silence means neglect. Silence often means God is up to something sacred. Let your faith rise again. Let your hope breathe again. Let your spirit believe again. You're not alone. You're not abandoned. You are not forgotten. This very moment is proof that God still speaks, that he still reaches, that he still cares. So take a breath and remember this truth. God has never left your side. Not for a moment, and he never will. There is a moment in every believer's life when the silence begins to feel louder than the promises. When each day starts to feel like a question, and each prayer ends with a quiet echo instead of a clear response. Maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you've been holding on, patiently, faithfully, but you're beginning to wonder if God still remembers what he said. You're beginning to ask, God, did you forget me? But let me tell you this clearly and directly from the Spirit of God to your heart. No, he has not forgotten you. He couldn't forget you if he tried. His love for you is not passive. It is not distant. It is deeply active, wildly persistent, and it does not sleep. You are not one in a crowd to him. You are his child. You are his beloved, and he has not missed a moment of your journey. Isaiah 49:15-16 says, Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Think about that. God has written your name on his hands, the same hands that hold the stars, the same hands that parted the Red Sea, the same hands that reached out to Peter when he sank in the storm. Your name is there, not written in pencil, not scribbled in the corner, engraved, permanent, uncheckable. So when your heart starts to doubt, return to that truth. When fear whispers that you've been overlooked, remind yourself he hasn't forgotten. He hasn't moved away. He hasn't changed his mind about you. What he spoke over you still stands. His word doesn't return void. Isaiah 55:11 says, So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. If God spoke a promise over your life, it will happen. Maybe not in your timing, maybe not in the way you pictured, but it will happen, because his word has an assignment. And until that assignment is fulfilled, heaven will not let it fall. You might be thinking, but why is it taking so long? Why is the path so unclear? That's a fair question, and God isn't offended by your asking. In fact, he invites it, because the question doesn't weaken your faith. It draws you closer to his heart. The truth is, some things can only be formed in the dark. Seeds grow in the soil before they ever break the surface. Babies are formed in the womb before they take their first breath. Diamonds are made under pressure, hidden deep beneath the ground before they ever shine in the light. And your faith, being formed in those same places, not in the applause, but in the quiet, not in the spotlight, but in the secret place. Luke 8:17 says, For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. What's been growing in you will not stay hidden forever. What God has been forming in you in silence will be revealed in his time. The preparation, the pruning, the lessons that have cost you tears and time, they're building something inside you that is eternal, something uncheckable, something that no person, no failure, no delay can ever take from you. You see, there is a divine rhythm in the kingdom, a holy process. And sometimes that process looks like waiting. Sometimes it looks like quiet obedience. Sometimes it looks like holding on to promises when there's no sign of fulfillment. But every step matters. Every act of faith is noticed. Heaven sees your posture. And God is storing every one of your prayers in his hands. Revelation 5-8 tells, use that the prayers of God's people are like incense in golden bowls before his throne. That means every time you cried out in faith, every whispered prayer, every silent plea, none of them vanished into the air. They are collected, they are sacred, and they are being poured back in blessing at the appointed time. But friend, let me remind you of something crucial. The waiting is not punishment. The delay is not a result of God's disapproval. In fact, it may be the exact opposite. The longer God takes, the greater the glory. The deeper the process, the wider the impact. The harder the climb, the more breathtaking the view. James 1:24 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." The waiting is building something in you. Not just hope, but holiness. Not just patience, but power. And God will not let you come out of this season empty-handed. But while you wait, don't wait in fear. Wait in faith. Declare what you believe, even before you see it. Pray like the answer is already on the way. Worship like the doors are already opening, because faith doesn't wait until the battle is over to celebrate. Faith praises in the prison. Faith shouts before the walls fall. Faith speaks victory when the valley is still dark. That's the kind of faith God is growing in you. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize it was the quiet moments that built the strongest parts of your spirit. It was the silent seasons that taught you how to hear his voice more clearly. It was the waiting that taught you how to walk by faith and not by sight. God never intended for you to walk this journey alone. Even if others have left, even if the crowd has moved on, God remains. He is constant. He is closer than your next breath. And he's not just beside you, he's within you. Galatians 2:20 reminds us, "I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." Let that truth steady you. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not unloved. You are surrounded. You are sustained. You are supernaturally strengthened. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, you are changing. God is using everything. The tears, the trials, the tension, all of it is shaping your destiny. All of it is preparing you to carry the answer when it comes. Because you're not just waiting for a breakthrough, you are becoming the kind of person who can carry it well. And friend, when it does come, when the promise finally breaks through the soil, you'll see why it took this long. You'll understand why he had to say, "Not yet." You'll be grateful for the pruning, the pressing, the process. Because you'll realize it wasn't just about the outcome. It was about becoming more like him. He hasn't forgotten you. He's forming you. And soon, what was once silent will become a shout of praise. So hold on. Don't quit. Don't walk away now. You're closer than you think. You're stronger than you feel. And you are loved more than you know. There is something sacred about the wilderness seasons. The places where nothing seems to move. The days where the prayers feel unanswered. And the nights where your tears speak louder than your words. These are the in-between moments where one chapter has ended, but the next has not yet begun. The bridge between the promise and the fulfillment. And it's in this sacred in-between that God says, "I have not forgotten you." Even when others move on, even when the world feels like it's speeding ahead while you're stuck in place, even when you feel like you're being passed over, God is not pacing back and forth in heaven, wondering what to do with your life. He is not delayed. He is not distracted. He is not unsure. He is intentional with every breath you take and every second that passes. You are not where you are by accident. God has planted you in a season that has purpose. Maybe not a season of visible fruit, but of roots. Maybe not a season of celebration, but of cultivation. The kind of season that feels invisible to others, but deeply personal to you. And that's because God is working on your heart before he works on your harvest. Psalm 1-3 says, "That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers." Did you catch that? The fruit comes in season, not always now, not always fast, but always in its time. And the prosperity, the stability, the beauty of the tree, it all comes from one thing: being planted. When you are planted in God's truth, when you're rooted in his word, when you're nourished by his presence, then no matter what the outside world looks like, you're growing, quietly, steadily, faithfully. Maybe others can't see what's growing in you. That's okay. Roots grow down before branches grow up. God is rooting strength in you so that when the wind comes, you won't be moved. He's growing discernment in you so you'll recognize what is of him and what isn't. He's refining your heart so that when the blessing comes, your heart will be ready to handle it with humility. The reason God hasn't forgotten you is because he remembers every detail he designed in you. Every talent, every calling, every divine thread that runs through your soul. And he's not just keeping track of your outer life. He's guarding your spirit, because what you carry is holy. Your calling is not common, and that means your process may take longer, may go deeper, and may feel heavier, but the result will be glorious. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." Did you hear that? What you're carrying now is nothing compared to what will be revealed. So if the pain is great, the promise must be greater. If the pressure is heavy, the purpose must be massive. If the waiting is long, the glory that's coming must be beyond anything you've ever imagined. Don't let discouragement rob you of your joy. Don't let delay make you doubt the vision. Don't let the enemy use silence as evidence against the character of God. The silence isn't a sign that God has turned away from you. It's a sign that he's calling you closer. Sometimes God will allow the noise to fade so you can finally hear his whisper. He's not trying to scare you. He's trying to lead you. And sometimes his most powerful words are spoken in the stillness. 1 Kings 19 tells us about Elijah, who was hiding in a cave after feeling overwhelmed and abandoned. God told him to stand on the mountain, and then came a wind, then an earthquake, then a fire, but God wasn't in any of those. After the fire came a gentle whisper, and it was in the whisper that Elijah finally heard him. Maybe that's where you are right now. You've looked for the wind, the signs, the fireworks. But God is whispering, whispering hope, whispering comfort, whispering truth into the very corners of your soul that the world doesn't see. And when God whispers, it's not because he's far away. It's because he's close. Closer than your next heartbeat. Closer than the breath in your lungs. Closer than any friend or family member could ever be. He is not shouting at you from a distance. He's sitting right beside you in the silence. You are not walking through this alone. He is with you. He is for you. He is holding you. He is preparing you. You may not have all the answers, but you have the presence of the one who does. And his presence is enough. Psalm 16:11 says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." Fullness of joy. Not partial, not momentary, but full. And it's found not in the outcome, but in the presence. If you've been waiting for circumstances to shift before you feel peace, shift your focus. Peace is not found in the answer. It's found in the one who holds the answer. Let your prayer be, God, even if the breakthrough takes time, let me never lose sight of you. Even if the promise takes years, let me never stop trusting you. Even if I don't understand the path, let me keep walking it with faith. This is the kind of faith that pleases God. Hebrews 11:6 says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." He is a rewarder. He sees your seeking. He hears your questions. He honors your pursuit. And even now, he's storing up goodness for you. Not because you've earned it, but because he's good. You may feel like your best days are behind you, like your moment has passed. But God has a way of doing more in a moment than we could in a lifetime. He doesn't need the perfect circumstances. To bless you, he only needs your yes. He's not waiting on everything around you to change. He's waiting for you to trust him right where you are. Sometimes we think we have to fix ourselves before God can move. But that's not how grace works. God steps into the mess. He speaks into the chaos. He brings order to the confusion. And he uses the very things you thought disqualified you to glorify himself through you. He is not waiting for perfection. He is waiting for surrender. Just give him your heart again. Tell him, God, I don't have it all together, but I give you what I have. Tell him, God, I'm tired, but I still believe you're good. Tell him, God, I feel forgotten, but I will hold on to your truth. This kind of faith moves mountains. This kind of trust builds legacies. This kind of surrender opens the door to the miraculous. John 14:18 gives us this beautiful promise from Jesus himself. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. And he has. He's come to you in this very message. He's come to remind you that he hasn't forgotten the tears you've cried. He hasn't forgotten the dreams you buried out of disappointment. He hasn't forgotten the nights you stayed up, hoping, praying, pleading. He hasn't forgotten the times you chose obedience when it cost you something. He hasn't forgotten the love you gave when no one said thank you. He hasn't forgotten the courage it took just to keep believing. He has not forgotten you. So today, if you hear his voice, don't harden your heart. Open your spirit again. Open your hands again. Open your heart to trust again. Even if you've been let down before. Even if the weight has felt endless. Even if the pain has been deep. Because your story is not over. And what God is doing in you now is leading you into something greater than you can even comprehend. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That future is still alive. That hope is still strong. And your God is still faithful. So take a deep breath. Let go of what didn't happen. Release the weight of what you don't understand. And lean into the one who does. Let him write the next chapter. Let him carry what you can't. Let him restore what was lost. Because the one who has not forgotten you is also the one who will finish what he started. Philippians 1:6 reminds us, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. He's not done with you. He's just getting started. Even now, as you sit and listen, the Spirit of the Lord is moving in ways you cannot see. The answers may not have arrived yet, but the atmosphere around you is changing. Angels are being dispatched. Doors are slowly beginning to unlock. Hearts that need to shift are being softened. And within your spirit, a new strength is rising, not because of what you can see with your eyes, but because of what you're choosing to believe with your heart. You may not feel strong. You may not feel courageous. But faith isn't based on feeling. It's based on trusting God's nature. And the nature of God is love, mercy, truth, and absolute faithfulness. He cannot lie. He cannot abandon. He cannot forget. That's not just what he chooses. It's who he is. Numbers 23:19 says, God is not human, that he should lie, not a human being, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? So if God said he would heal you, he will. If God said he would restore your family, he will. If God said he would lead you into purpose, then no storm, no delay, and no enemy can cancel that word. You may feel like you've wasted time. You may feel like you've made too many mistakes. But here's the miracle of God's grace. He knows how to redeem the years. Joel 2:25 gives us this beautiful promise. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. God knows how to multiply what you thought was lost. He knows how to make up for what was stolen. He knows how to reroute your life and still get you to the destination he intended. And he doesn't need perfect conditions to do it. He just needs your surrender, just your willingness to believe again, just your yes. You may think your yes is too small, too late, too weak. But in the kingdom of God, a mustard seed of faith is enough to move mountains. A whisper of surrender is enough to shake the heavens. A single tear cried in faith is enough to catch his attention. Psalm 56:8 tells us that God collects every tear. Not one is wasted, not one is forgotten. He sees them all, and he holds them like treasures, because to him they are. Your pain matters. Your prayers matter. You matter, so take heart today. Lift up your head. You are still in the hands of the God who parts seas, who calms storms, who raises the dead, and who brings dry bones back to life. And if he can do all of that, he can surely carry you through this. Let today be a turning point. Not because your circumstances have changed yet, but because your perspective is being restored. Let your eyes be fixed not on what is missing, but on who is present. Let your heart be anchored not in how long it's taking, but in the truth that God is in it with you. God never asked you to figure everything out. He only asked you to trust him. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. That means when the path looks crooked, keep trusting. When the way is unclear, keep submitting. When your understanding fails, let your faith rise. Because trust isn't just believing that God can, it's resting in the truth that God will and he will. He will finish what he started. He will come through at just the right time. He will be faithful, because he cannot be anything else. Don't let time trick you into thinking God has forgotten. Time is a tool in his hands, not a limitation. God isn't late, he's intentional. He's arranging divine appointments, orchestrating connections, healing wounds you didn't even know needed. Healing. His delay is not his denial. It is often his greatest act of mercy. If he gave you the promise too soon, you might not be ready. If he opened the door too early, it could crush you. If he answered too quickly, you might have missed the deeper lesson. But when the time is right, and it will be, he will move suddenly. And the very things that felt impossible for years will fall into place in a moment. That's the kind of God you serve. A God of suddenlies. The God of but God. The God who specializes in showing up right when you need him most. Don't stop expecting. Don't stop believing. Don't stop preparing. Because when the opportunity comes, it will find you ready. When the blessing arrives, your hands will be open. When the door swings wide, your feet will be steady. Romans 8:28 reminds us. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose in all things. Not just the easy things, not just the victories, but the pain, the delays, the detours, the breakdowns, the things you don't understand. He's working them together for good. Right now, it may look like nothing's happening, but heaven is busy on your behalf. Angels are ministering. Favor is forming. Strength is being built in your inner man. God is preparing you for more than you've asked for, more than you imagined, because He's not a God of just enough. He's the God of abundance. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us." That's the key, His power that is at work within us. He's not only working around you, He's working in you. You're not the same person you were last year, or even last month. You've been stretched. You've grown deeper. You've learned how to endure, how to fight battles on your knees, how to stay planted when it would have been easier to walk away. And that inner strength, it's making you unshakable. So keep walking, keep praying, keep serving, keep thirsting. You're doing better than you think. You're not disqualified. You're not late. You're right where God can reach you, mold you, prepare you. And when the time comes, you'll understand why it had to happen this way. You'll see how every tear watered the ground for your miracle. You'll see how every waiting room built something eternal in you. You'll see that you were never forgotten. You were being held, guided, protected, positioned. So today, I encourage you to say this out loud, right where you are. God, I trust you, even when I don't understand, even when it hurts, even when I feel alone. I know you are with me. I know you have not forgotten me. I believe you are working, even now. Let that confession be your anchor. Let it be your reminder. Let it be your act of faith, because heaven responds to faith, and God delights in showing Himself strong on behalf of those who wait on Him. If this message has stirred something in your spirit, if it's confirmed something you've been holding on to quietly, then let it be known. Drop a comment right now and declare, "I believe in God." Let the world know. Let your faith echo. Let your agreement speak louder than your fear. And please, if this word is blessed you, take a moment to like this video. Share it with someone you know is waiting, someone who needs to hear that God has not forgotten them. Be the voice of hope for someone else today. And don't forget, subscribe to God's Message and turn on that notification bell, because there is more to come. More encouragement, more prophetic insight, more divine truth to carry you through the valleys and prepare you for the mountaintops. We are walking this journey with you. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are loved. And your breakthrough, it's closer than you think. Until next time, stay rooted in faith, open in spirit, and ready for what God is about to do. God bless you. And remember to share this message with friends and family who need to hear that their delay is not denial, and that they too are remembered by God. Come back soon for another life-giving word right here on God's Message.